Let's travel back in time to the wealthiest city of the ancient world, Babylon. We're talking legendary treasures, right? But all that wealth, it wasn't some kind of accident. Nope, it was built on some timeless financial principles that its citizens figured out thousands of years ago. And you know what? Their journey to getting rich starts with a question that feels like it could have been asked yesterday.
Seriously? Have you ever felt this? You work your tail off, you're earning what should be a good living, but when the end of the month rolls around, poof, it's gone. It's a puzzle that plagued even the people living in ancient Babylon, literally the richest city on the planet at the time. And this quote from the story, it just nails that feeling, doesn't it? This is Bansir. He's a master craftsman, the absolute best chariot builder in all of Babylon. So, by all accounts, he should be rolling in it. But instead, he's just sitting there, totally discouraged, watching all the city's wealth just pass him by.
But then, in the middle of all that frustration, Bansir has this little breakthrough. He realizes, wait a minute, I've been working hard, but I haven't been working smart. He and his friends have never once tried to actually learn the rules of money. So they decide to stop complaining and go get some wisdom from the one guy who's clearly figured it all out, Arkad, the richest man in Babylon.
And that brings us to Arkad. Now, what he's about to share isn't some secret about luck or being born into the right family. It's a learnable secret, a set of rules that really anyone can follow.
So here's the kicker. Arkad started with absolutely nothing. He wasn't the son of a rich merchant. He had zero inheritance. And this is so important because it means his path to wealth isn't a fluke. It's a system. It can be replicated. It's not a birthright.
His whole journey started when he was just a young scribe, carving laws onto clay tablets for a few coppers a day. One day, a rich moneylender named Algamish comes in and needs a huge text copied in just 2 days. So Arkad makes him a deal. He says, I'll work all night long to get this done, but in exchange, you have to teach me how to get rich.
And this was the wisdom that Algamish shared. Now, it sounds so simple, right? Almost too obvious. But really think about it for a second. Every month, who do you pay? You pay your landlord, you pay for food, you pay for clothes, you pay everyone except yourself. This idea that you absolutely must pay yourself first is the foundation for literally everything that follows.
The rule he learned was incredibly simple. For every 10 coins that come into your purse, you only ever take out 9. That last coin, 1/10 of everything you make, that's yours. It's not for spending later, it's to keep. It's the very first brick in the foundation of your fortune.
Okay, so from this one single idea, Arkad built out a whole system for building wealth, which he later taught as the Cures for a Lean Purse. Let's break down the 3 main parts.
All right, the first part is a really simple 2-step process. First, you take that 10% for yourself. That is not negotiable. Then, and only after you've done that, you figure out how to live on what's left. See how that completely flips how most of us handle money? We spend first and then kind of hope there's something left to save. This system guarantees you save every single time.
And here's why that system is so critical. Arkad warned that our so-called necessary expenses, well, they have this funny habit of expanding to eat up our entire income. It's basically an ancient description of what we call lifestyle creep today. So a budget, it's not a cage. It's a shield to protect your future self from your impulsive present self.
So you're paying yourself first, you're living on the rest, your purse is starting to feel a little heavier. Awesome. But the second cure tackles the next big step. Money that's just sitting there isn't doing anything for you. The real goal is to turn those savings into an actual source of new income.
This story from the book just shows the unbelievable power of putting your money to work, what we now call compound interest. A small amount of money, just invested and left alone, multiplies itself almost 17 times over 50 years. Your money isn't just earning, its earnings are starting to have their own earnings. That is the real engine of building wealth.
Of course, the moment you start putting your money to work, you also introduce the risk of losing it. And this brings us to the third cure, which is every bit as important as the first 2. You have to guard your treasure. You have to protect your principal.
You know, Arkad learned this lesson the hard way. He gave his entire first-year savings to a brickmaker named Osmor, who was going to travel and buy rare jewels. The problem? Brickmakers know about bricks, not jewels. Osmor got totally ripped off, and Arkad lost everything. The lesson is simple but so profound. Seek advice only from people who are actual experts in their field.
So these 3 cures, save, invest, and protect, they are the bedrock for building your long-term financial security. They're what make these bigger goals possible. owning your own home so you can lower your living costs, creating an income for when you're older, and always, always investing in yourself to increase how much you can earn.
So how does this all tie together? Well, to make these ideas really stick, Arkad used this incredibly powerful metaphor, one that made perfect sense in the world he lived in.
He taught that every single coin you save is like a worker. It's not just a piece of metal, it's an asset that goes out and earns for you. And every little bit it earns is like its child that can also grow up and start earning more. Your goal is to build an entire army of these assets, a constant stream of income that works to make you wealthy whether you're actively working or not.
And in the end, it all comes back to this one single idea, the most important rule from the richest man in Babylon. This is the command that starts building your army. It's the decision to finally pay yourself what you're actually worth.
You know, wealth, just like a giant tree, grows from one tiny seed, that very first coin you decide to keep for yourself. The principles from ancient Babylon are simple, they're timeless, and they've been proven to work. The only real question left is, when are you going to plant yours?